Hi, welcome to my channel Ruby Stedman. This October 19 is the World Day of the fight against breast cancer, and in honor of my sister who won this fight, and in honor to all who are battling breast cancer, I am knitting this beautiful hat. I hope you guys like it and give it a try, and here is the list of material you're gonna need to make this hat in honor to the fight against breast cancer. This is the yarn I'm gonna use is Mills and Assortments. Amazing value, 100% acrylic. It's like a fine tube, and I'm gonna double them up. That way it's thick enough. And it's pink, and I have a little strand of shiny thread, a silver thread. The netting needle are 7 millimeters. You're gonna need tapestry needle and scissor, and a visor. This one I'm recycling this one from another hat that I had and I never use. I use very little, and then I'm reusing this, and this is optional because you can leave the hat without a visor. Something else that you're gonna need is a measurement tape. Around 36 times my yarn in here because I need 72 stitches, so I'm gonna wrap 36, and I will double up the yarn to give me my tail for 72. So for example, let's say we have 36 here. You will pull it out, fold it in half, and here you will have the tail that you need for your cast on. If you want, you can use a yarn medium 4. It's okay. I just want to use this one because I love this one for this project. This is the amount of tail that I need for my casting on, so I'm gonna do a slip knot. And this will be our first stitch. And this is the tail on my thumb. So you're gonna start casting on your 72 stitches. And the stitch that we're gonna do in this hat is a 16-row motif. So I'm gonna leave in the description box a little bit of the written instruction of the stitch. Those are just the 16-row. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do 6 centimeters of the border, and that will be 1 net 1 purl, 1 net 1 purl for 6 centimeters. After that, we're gonna start with the stitch that to create the design is in 16 row. That don't mean that we only have to do 16 row. We have to do probably more, but after the 16 row, and number 17, you start with row number 1 again. So I'm gonna write the instruction in the description box. So you're gonna continue casting on until you have your 72. Once you casting on your 72 stitches, you will do a knot here to secure that stitch. And it will be nice if you have a row counter. That way you can count the row as you work. I'm gonna give you how many rows you will need to do for the border and how many rows you will need for the top of the hat. But it's nice for you to keep track of that as well. To start, we're gonna do a purl, and then a net, a purl, a net, a purl. You're going to continue doing this all the way to the end, and this is my first row of the 6 centimeters that I have to do. 1 net 1 purl, 1 net 1 purl, or 1 purl 1 net. I finished that first row, and now for the second one you're gonna do exactly the same. I'm gonna start with a purl, 1 net, 1 purl. You're gonna continue 1 net 1 purl all the way to the end, and you will do this for 6 centimeters, and I will do this off camera and I'll let you know how many rows I will do for mine. Here I finished the brim and I gave it 1 centimeter more. I did 10 rows, that way I have enough space to sew my little visor. So we're gonna start with the stitch, and like I said in the beginning, this stitch is a multiple of 16 row, or a 16 row motif. And when you have the stars in each, in the beginning and the end, that means you're gonna repeat those numbers inside. That's the repetition. I don't know if you guys can see very well here, but you see here, that's the repetition that you're gonna do between the stars. I'm gonna leave this in the description box, those 16 rows, you see, and then you go back in row number 17 to row number 1. Okay, so for example, I have between the star, the first row is 2 net, 2 purl, 2 net, 6 purl, and then when I finish my 6 purl, I come back again to 2 net and 2 purl, 2 net, 6 purl, and go back again until I finish that row. The second row, you start with 6 net, and then you do 6 net, 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, and come back again when you finish those 2 purl to 6 net, and like that you're gonna continue all the way to the end. So I'm gonna leave this in the description box, and it will be easier for you to guide yourself with my explanation and the instruction. So now we're gonna start with the stitch. We're gonna start row number 1, and row number 1 is 2 net to start. And then here you're gonna see as well the first row between the stars. So after 2 net, you have to do 2 purl. After those 2 purl, you have to do 2 net, and now 6 purl, and that's the repetition that you're gonna do in this row number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's what you have in between the stars. So you go back again to 2 net. And now you do 2 purl. Two net. And now you do your 6 purl. And you see, again, I'm doing that repetition. You're gonna continue doing that repetition until the end of this row. I'm gonna continue off camera, and I will show you how to do row number 2. I finished row number 1. Now we're gonna start row number 2, and the sequence for row number 2 is 6 net, 2 purl, 2 net, and 2 purl, and that is between the stars. And then you go back with that repetition. This stitch is multiple of 12, so if you want this hat a little smaller, you remove 12. If you want it even smaller, you remove 24. So you remove 12 at the time. So now we do 6 net, 3, 4, 5, and 6 net. Now we do 2 purl. 1 and 2. We do 2 net and 2 purl, and again we start with the beginning of the stitch, that is 6 net, and then 6 net, 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl. Like that you're gonna continue that repetition until you get to the end. And again, I'm gonna leave here this row. We're gonna start row number 3, and row number 3 is the repetition of row number 1. So you're gonna do 2 net, 2 purl, 2 net, and 6 purl. It's exactly the same as row number 1. I'm gonna continue off camera and I'll show you what to do on row number 4. So right now you don't see the design, but after you have done a nice piece, you'll see how beautiful this is. Now row number 4 is the repetition of row number 2. So you're gonna knit 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You're gonna purl 2, 1, and 2. You're gonna knit 2, 1, and 2, and you're gonna purl 2, and there we start all over again from the start to start. You're gonna do 6 net, 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, and go back again, 6 net, and like so. And in the next row we're gonna switch the stitches around. For row number 5 we're gonna do 2 net, 2 purl, 2 net, and 6 net. This 1, and 2 net, 2 purls, 2 net. Now you're going to change this 6 purl into 6 net. So you're going to net those 6. The only thing that changed in this row is those 6 that you're going to net them. Okay, so you start all over again, 2 net, and then 2 purl, 2 net, 6 net, and like that you're going to continue this row until the end and you start to see the design. I'm going to show you something for those beginners that maybe they're making this and they make a mistake, like for example in here that you're supposed to do net, let's say you continue automatically and you do purl. I'm going to do 3 purl. And then you realize that you made a mistake and you're supposed to net here. So to remove those stitches, what you do is you come here and pass your needle through here and pull that one out. You see, you remove 1, again 2, and 3. And like that, you fix your mistake. You go back here and then you net those 6. The stitch start to look amazing. This is perfect. In row number 6 we're gonna do 6 purl, 2 purl, 2 net, and 2 purl. You're gonna work the stitch as you see those 12 stitches. So remember, we're working 12 stitches at a time. So first we do 6 purl, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then you have 2 purl, 1, and 2 purl, and you see you have 2 net, and then you're going to finish with 2 purl, and those are my 12 stitches. And then you go back to number 1, 6 purl, 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl. Again, come back again with that repetition, and it will look like this. Row number 7 is the repetition of row number 5, 2 net, 2 purl, 2 net, and 6 net. So you're going to start with 2 net, you're gonna do 2 purl, you're gonna do 2 net, and then you're gonna do 6 net. And like that, we have our 12 stitches. Now you start again with 2 net, and then 2 purl, 2 net, and then 6 net. And look how nice that stitch starts to look. So you're gonna continue doing this all the way to the end, and this is row number 8 is the repetition of row number 6. So we're gonna do 6 purl, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The next is 2 purl, 1 and 2, again 2 net, 1 and 2, and 2 purl, and that's our 12 stitches. And again you start with 6 purl, 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl. And this is the side. Now for row number 9, we're going to change things around. So we've been working, you see all these 6 exactly in the same place. Now we're going to change them to the beginning and here. You see? You see the 6 are here. Now we're going to change them to here and here and top of those. So row number 9 is 6 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, and 2 net. That repetition. So now it's 6 purl, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we have to do 2 net, 2 purl, and 2 net, and that's the repetition. So you're gonna do now again 6 purl, and then 2 net, 2 purl, and 2 net, all the way to the end, and this is row number 9. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, and 2 net, and then you start again with 6 purl. For row number 10, we're gonna do 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, and 6 net. So we are doing the stitches as we see them. So these 2 are 2 purl, now 2 net, 2 purl, and 6 net. Those 6 there. And that's the combination for this row. Okay. Now you repeat again, 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, 6 net. And it'll look like this. Now row number 11 is the repetition of row number 9, and it's 6 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, and 2 net. And that's the sequence you're gonna do in this row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 purl. Now it's asking for 2 net, 1 and 2 net, 2 purl, and 2 net. And that's the sequence that you're gonna do in row number 11. 6 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, and 2 net. Now row number 12 is the repetition of row number 10, and that is 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, 6 net. And it's, as you see the stitch, is what you're gonna do. Okay, so here is 2 purl, now 2 net, 2 purl, and now 6 net. So this is the sequence you're gonna do in this row. And we have only 4 more rows to go before we start with row number 1 again. And it looks amazing. I don't know if the camera do justice how fantastic this is looking. So remember, you have to do what you see. You see here, I see 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, 6 net. Now in row number 13, we're gonna change the sequence of these 6 stitches that always exactly the same. So here they're being purl in the right side. Now they're gonna be net. So only those 6 change. These 6 stay the same. So here we're gonna do 6 net. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 net. Now it's set to do 2 more net, and here you have 2 more net. These ones stay the same, these 6 stitches. So you do 2 net, and then 2 purl, and you finish with 2 nets. And that's the sequence. Okay, so again you will do 6 net, 2 net, 2 purl, and 2 net, and like that you continue this row all the way to the end. It is a little peek at what the hat is looking like. It look amazing. I love this stitch, and it looks small, but look how much this stretch. Okay, so I'm still working in row number 13. In row number 14, we want to work the stitches as we see them, and it's 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, 6 purl, and then you start all over again to the beginning. 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, 6 purl. It's the reverse of what we did on the other side. So you're gonna do 2 purl, 1 and 2. Now it's 2 net. You see the 2 net there. Now you had 2 purl and 6 purl plus 2 more purl. That's 10 in total there. But the sequence is 2 purl and then 6. The other 2 is for the beginning at the next sequence. That's 2, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And that's your sequence there. And then you start with again 2 purl, 2 net, 2 purl, 6 purl. And then we have to do 2 more rows, and then we start all over again with row number 1. Row number 15 is the repetition of row number 13, and you're gonna work your stitches as you see them. Okay, so here I see that I have my 6 net, 2 net, 2 purl, and 2 net, and that's what we did in row number 13. So for row 15 is 6 net, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we have to do 2 more net, 1 and 2, and now we have 2 purl, 1 and 2, and now we have 2 net, and that is the sequence of this row. Okay, like this. So now we have to do 6 net, 2 net, 2 purl, 2 net, and like that. We're gonna start our last row of the sequence of the design of the stitch, and this is row number 16. And row number 16 is the repetition of row number 14, and you're gonna follow your stitches as you see them. Okay, so here we have 2 purl, and then we have 2 net, 2 purl, and 6 purl. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and that's the sequence. Now we start again with 2 purl, and then 2 net, 2 purl, 6 purl. After we finish this row, we go back to row number 1. Here I finished my 16th row. Now I have to go back again to row number 1 of the design, and that row number 1 was 2 net, 2 purl, 2 net, 6 purl. And then after that, I will do row number 2, row number 3, 4, 5, 6. The amount of row that I need until I have 22 centimeters long. And here, my hand measure so far from the border, 15 centimeters. So I have to do 7 centimeters more of the design until I have my 22 centimeters. That's the length that we want for our hat. So I have to start all over again. So I recommend to go back to row number 1 of the design and start from 1 on until you repeat those rows, and you have 22 centimeters in total, and that is from the border here. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go off camera and I'll let you know how many more rows I will do for mine. So far I've done 16 at this design, and here each time I do a row, I tick them that I did that row. So here on the side I'll go back again and mark them, and if, for example, I will do 7 rows, probably I have to do more. I will say, well, I did 16 plus 7. Okay, but it's very easy. Some of you guys that are beginner maybe think that this is very difficult, but if you go with the instruction that each row I'm leaving here from start to start, that's the repetition that you have to do in those 12 stitches. Every 12 stitches you start with that repetition. It's very easy. So I'm gonna work off camera and I'll let you know how many more rows I will do to mine until I have my 22 centimeters long. Here I have my 22 centimeter. So I did 16 rows of the design, and then row number 17 I came back to row number 1 and I did 12 rows. So in total I did 28 rows of the design plus this border here, and that is my 22 centimeters. Now we're gonna start with the decrease. To do the decrease, we're gonna do 2 together and 2 together, 2 together until you get to the end, and a purl stitch. So let's do together, together, like this. All the way to the end. Now we have 36 stitches, and we're gonna do exactly the same. 2 together, all the way to the end, and a purl stitch. Like so. Here we have 18 stitches, and we're gonna do exactly the same. 2 together and a purl stitch. So it's the same decrease. Okay. Now I have 9, and you're gonna do another decrease, and you're gonna end up with 5. So you're gonna do 2 together, 2 together, 2 together, 2 together, and 1 by itself. Here I have only 5 stitches, so I'm gonna cut my yarn, leaving a tail for sewing. So I'm gonna measure on my hat 1, 2.5 times. Then I will cut it here, that way I have enough tail for closing the top and sewing the side. Now the tapestry needle, you're gonna pass those 5 stitches, you're gonna close the top and sew the side of the hat. Here I'm gonna pass my tapestry needle through my 5 stitches. Make sure that you don't lose any, because you'll have to start your work all over again. So I like to pass my yarn twice through the top, that way it's nice and secure in here. So I pass it again through my 5 stitches. Once you finish here, you'll sew the hat and the side. Make sure that you have an even work all the way to the end. Once you finish closing the top, you're gonna start sewing here on the side like this, going sideways here, and then here, and then here, and here, all the way to the end, and make sure you have your work even. Okay, we are almost finished our hat, and it looks amazing. If you think the stitches are too open in here, what you do, you weave your yarn inside here a couple of times and you will close the stitch that way. That's what I did for mine. Or you can place a pom-pom. Once you finish, the hat will look like this. They look amazing. And here is the back. You hardly see it because it's like 3D. You don't see that part. And it look amazing. So if you don't have the visor, you don't have to sew. You can leave it like this. I'm gonna put it on my mannequin and I will show you what it look like without it. So if you have the visor, we'll sew it on here. This is what the hat look like without the visor, and it look amazing. So like I said, the visor is optional. I love this hat. Now to sew the visor, you have your hat. This is the back right here in the center, and you're gonna come here and you're gonna place it here, and you're gonna bring it here, and with your tapestry needle, see, it's right in the center. You're gonna come here and you're gonna start sewing this in here all the way to here. I recommend with pins to pin it down, that way you don't lose the center at the hat. And then you sew this. If you don't want it to do it with the same yarn, you can do it with sewing thread, a pink one, or the color of your hat, and you're gonna sew it here. Okay, I had to do this off camera because I don't want to be all the way here sewing and my visor could be off center. Okay, but that's how I recommend you to sew it, like this. Okay, from here all the way to the other side. Here I'm going to try to sew this in front of the camera, that way you guys don't feel like I left you hanging. So here I already attached my yarn. I have it with my tapestry needle, and here I recommend when you start sewing to try to have this straight, not folded like this, because we don't want this folded. Try to be as straight as you can in here, you see. And when you start here, give it a nice secure stitch here, that way the tip of your visor don't poke you sometime. Okay, so you have to secure those in. You have to make sure when you start sewing here, you close the stitches here in this corner a little bit, all the stitches, that way the tip of your visor don't poke you. So after that, you're going to continue sewing all the way to the end, and make sure you do the same on the other side. Like you see, it's something very easy to do. Here I finished sewing the visor, and here in the side here I closed the stitches a little bit because I don't want the tip to show, so I did the same in here, and here I closed the stitch again here a little bit. You see, it's thicker here, so that's the trick that I did to sew the ends, and it look amazing. And now again I will put it on in my model and I will show you the end result. This is the end result, and it look amazing. And if you want this hat smaller, you can remove 12 stitches and use a 6mm knitting needle, or you can remove 24 stitches. So I hope you guys like it, and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you are not already a subscriber. And if you make this piece and you want to send me some picture, you can do it through my Facebook page, Ruby Steadman, or you can find me in my Instagram, Ruby Steadman Crochet. Please share my videos with friends and family. That way you help me grow here in YouTube. And remember, have your yearly checkup, especially your mammogram. Have a beautiful day. Bye.